Shai, you obviously had that wonderful moment last night with your teammates. What did it feel like for you to be out there at midcourt and receiving that award and then to go out and play the way you did?
Yeah, it felt really good. I feel like my emotions were like so high that I was like a little bit like tired out there, especially to start. I was like a little too juiced up. But yeah, special moment. I'm happy we won so I can like really enjoy the last couple of days and soak it all up. That really helps. But yeah, shout out to the team. Played well again tonight and head to Minnesota up 2-0.
Shai over here in the corner, Malika Andrews, ESPN. It seems like all season long, this team's spirit, no matter the run, never breaks. And yet, 3 minutes before the game, you're celebrating, and then 3 minutes later, you're completely locked into this opponent. Starting with you, how do you balance that fun with keeping this serious goal in mind?
Yeah, we just prioritize what matters. And like we've come to realize that you win games and all that other stuff comes after. And it's, you guys saw it last night with myself and Lou and Dub today getting recognition. When you win games and you do it together and you have fun out there, everything else, all the individual stuff you want, it comes with it. But it starts with taking care of business on a basketball court, and we know that.
Shai, congratulations. I remember in the bubble, just you and Chris Paul being joined at the hip. You kind of like taking everything as a sponge. From your arrival here and joining forces with him in the bubble to now, how would you describe your relationship? What has he meant to you? It's kind of like a big boy, big brother, mentor, all and above. It was just, and in addition, what did it mean for you that he arrived tonight?
Yeah, he has been great. Like you said, not only like a big brother, mentor, but just like a friend. He's always there to lean on. He was the first guy in my life that I was like close with that like achieved the things that I wanted to achieve. And I really leaned on him for like advice. And not only basketball advice, like business advice, taking care of your body advice, like handling a family when they don't live with you. Like there's so many things that you deal with as an NBA player, especially of his caliber, that go under the radar. And his guidance with that has been great. And like I said, not only as all the mentorship and stuff, but just being there as a friend, he's been special.
And his attendance tonight.
Oh yeah, that was amazing. Caught me off guard. I had to like double take. I was like, who's that sitting with my wife? I got a little tight, but then I seen it was Chris. I was like, all right, cool.
Shai, you talked about those emotions early, just sort of almost wearing you down before the game even starts. Did you focus on anything particular to try to kind of get through that initial stretch of time? And then just overall with what you did individually tonight, what were you most pleased with?
Yeah, early I just wanted to lean on my teammates. Like, I thought about like coming out and like forcing the first couple shots, but I was like, nah, it's probably not the way to go. I wanted to just let the game come to me. Like I said, lean on my teammates, play through them, play off of them. I think my first basket was like a back cut from Hart. So like I just didn't want to force the issue, let the game come to me. And then, yeah, I'm pleased with the way we guarded tonight. We held them to 100 points, I think, and obviously they're a really good offense. So, yeah, we did the job defensively.
Andrew Schleck with The Athletic. J-Dub had 11 in the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what did you see from him offensively and defensively tonight?
Yeah, stepping into his own, being confident, making big-time plays. I think we had like they were cutting back into the lead, and they had like a fast break. He got a steal and then an and one. That was like a huge play for the last couple of minutes. He's just coming into his own. And I knew this would happen. He's a great player, works hard, does the right things, and when you do that, good things happen for you.
It was about 4.5 minutes to go in the first half. You had 8 points, and then you went on like a little bit of a run at the end. You had like an assist, a fadeaway over DiVincenzo, a three, a couple free throws. You had like 11 points in like the last 4.5 minutes. Was that conscious where you saw something or you felt like you want to be more assertive or whatever? Help you guys get an 8-point lead.
Yeah, not at all. I honestly just was out there playing basketball. Try to be aggressive, take my spots, try to make the right play. That's all that was. It wasn't intentional at all. Just try to close the half the right way. Closing quarters, is so important, especially in close games and the later in the season, the closer the game. So just want to take advantage of those moments.
Yeah, Shai, you've seen Lou put in the work year after year after year. He's been underappreciated year after year after year. What does it mean to you to see him finally get all defense first team?
Yeah, so happy for him. Nothing's made me happier this year in terms of our team. Like, Lou's been what he's been this year his whole career, and for him to finally get the recognition that he deserves is very special. And it's more impressive that he just stuck with it throughout not getting it and just doing what's better for the team. He diminished his role a couple years ago to do what's better for the team. He's just such a team first guy and puts that above all. To see him finally get some individual recognition for his hard work is very special.
Shai, how hard is it? I know you take one game at a time, but these games are coming fast and furious right now. How hard is it to not look at it and go, we're 6 wins from an NBA title?
Yeah, it's pretty easy. All season long, we've got into a habit and built the muscle of just focusing on the next game and worrying about what's in front of us. And it's no different in this situation. We're aware of where we are in the season, but we'd be doing ourselves a disservice if we kind of veer from what got us here, and that's what we prioritize.
Shai, you once mentioned my whole life is consistent. When you think about the younger teenage Shai, how proud of you are of that younger Shai that got you to that point of hoisting up the trophy tonight?
Yeah, I'm very proud. I'm glad he never gave up. I'm glad he listened to the right people, and I'm glad for those people giving me that advice that they did throughout the years. They know who they are, and I'm very appreciative.
Shai, you guys have really seized command of both of these games in the third quarter. What are you seeing come out of halftime that's put you guys in position to really overwhelm them in those quarters?
Yeah, we haven't been great. We were terrible coming out of half in the last series, and that's just been an emphasis of ours. We have to, no matter what's going on in the first half, we have to start this half the right way, and we've done a pretty good job of it the last 2 games. It's going to be very important on the road in their environment, in their comfort zone. We got to push it forward.
Yeah, Shai, when you think about people asking you about Chris and 2020, the bubble year and all that, does that seem like forever ago and all that you and this team's been through? How do you sort of, from a perspective, rationalize all those things?
Yeah, a little bit of both. It feels like it was a long time ago, but it also doesn't feel like it was 5-6 years ago. It's kind of in between. But yeah, it's the journey. It's been fun. It went by faster than I thought, but also it's 5-6 years ago. Wow. So yeah, I don't know. It's a whirlwind. When I'm done my career, I'll look back and reminisce on everything.
Shai, the other night you talked about your wife, Haley, and how much she's meant in sort of your journey and your path to this point. What does it mean to raise an MVP and score 38 in the conference finals and a pair of shoes in a colorway named after her?
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm glad I played well in her colorway for sure. She'd be mad at me if I played bad. But she deserves it. She's been my rock throughout this whole journey, from when I was a kid till now. One of those silent forces that doesn't get the recognition, and she deserves the world. I'll do everything I can to give it to her.
We can go one last one to Jenny, right here in the front. Last question to Jenny.
Shai, the run you guys put on there in the third quarter feels like Minnesota sort of is caving is probably the wrong word, but just sort of sensing the momentum that you guys have. Are you feeling that as they sort of react to what you guys are doing at all?
Yeah, you can feel it. You feel like what happens is you feel us string together stops. That's what's encouraging, and I think that's what's made us really good. Just our team really enjoys playing defense and finds it very fun. And when we score, stop, the stops is what gets us going. We can play faster, we play confident, and we're out there running and just hooping. But yeah, us enjoying getting stops is definitely the key to that.
Thank you, Shai.
Nick Gallo, OKC Thunder. Dub, Mark was saying that you guys just played with a level of confidence that whole second half. Tell me about the third quarter burst that you felt, but then also the way that you guys just kind of kept things moving on the scoreboard in that fourth quarter, even when they were making a run. It just seemed like you all continue to have good, solid answers.
Honestly, I think our start was better. Just defensively, we were better just being engaged. I think how you start the game kind of like carry over. And I thought we did a good job of that. And then third quarter, we're playing a really good team, so anytime they can kind of get ahead of steam, we try and like shut that off early, or at least just make it harder. They're going to have runs, and you can't really like determine when they're going to have runs. But that third quarter coming out, we try and like really buckle down defensively and set the tone again. Halftime, especially like when you're starting to play later in the season, these halftimes are longer, so it's kind of like you restart the game a little bit. So we try and like have a lot of emphasis on that.
Jalen, it's been a whirlwind of a 36, 48 hours for Shai. And obviously, right before tip-off, he's out there hoisting the MVP award. What did you sense out of him, just his emotions, and then how he responded tonight?
First off, huge congrats to him. It's an award that is really cool to be a part of. I don't know how many people in the NBA can say that they have a teammate that's MVP, so it's really dope for him. And then I think it's very impressive how fast he's able to turn the page. Just obviously a flow of emotions that probably go through your head, and the sense of like relief, I feel like, because you have to wait so long after the season to figure it out. Like I feel like there's just a ton of emotions. He's able to push those aside and have a night like he did tonight is really impressive. I think that also keeps the rest of the team at ease when he's able to flip the page as quick as he is. It kind of gets us in the same mode that he's in.
Dub, back here. I know it's a small sample, but through 2 games, it feels like you've maybe asserted yourself in the series, unlike any other series so far. Like, why do you think you've been able to assert yourself so well in this series?
Every series is different, and I know that, so I just try and come out there and do the same thing that I did previously, just as far as like being aggressive and taking what the defense gives me. But yeah, just honestly not trying to like linger too long into the last series, and just read off of what they're doing and not think about it too much.
And we've talked all year about these sort of third quarter, fourth quarter runs, these massive runs we expect you guys to go on. I don't know if they've happened a lot in these playoffs, maybe not as much as they have in this series so far. Why do you think they've happened so frequently in this series, and can you sort of sense when a team is like losing its grip per se?
These runs don't like happen as frequently just because I feel like the amount of possessions that you get in a game in the playoffs is probably a little less. I feel like every team in the NBA can sense when you're going to go on a run or when a run's kind of happening. Again, it's not something that like we're like hoping for or looking for, you know what I mean? It's just like when you play hard and you kind of take it one possession at a time, that's what it ends up being. So we're not looking for those, but when we do sense it and we kind of feel that we're in the middle of it, it does like heighten it that we're at home. And honestly, like trying to keep the energy up will be a big one, just going into these away games where you don't have the crowd kind of into it.
Dub, when you first got here, I'm sure you were talked to about the potential of what this team could have. And just here in the last couple of years, obviously Mark gets Coach of the Year, Sam gets Executive of the Year, Shai gets the MVP, and now you and Dort are on all defensive teams. Can you just talk about taking a breath and looking about all the stuff that you're probably told could potentially happen, starting to realize right now?
This isn't like to negate your question, but I really try not to think about it too much because it distracts from what we're trying to do. But yeah, there are times like I would say in the regular season where it's just like, I guess like my All-Star was like a good time to like reflect on just how fast and I think and how fortunate we are just like be in the spot that we are. But as of right now, like I don't really think about it too much just because obviously, like I said, we're playing a really good team and they require all of our energy and focus going into that.
J-Dub, Shai just mentioned that our team really enjoys playing defense and you guys find it very fun. What is it like to be on a team with a group of guys that are truly cut from a different cloth when it comes to having a defensive mindset?
Yeah, I don't know how it started, but I think we just take pride in defense, and I think that just makes it fun for us. I don't really have like a pinpoint time when it got that way, but it's just something competitive about our team that likes doing it, and I think we understand that kind of what makes us go in a way, so we kind of try to make that our identity.
Chet, you guys have all talked about this mindset of continuing to get better as the playoffs have gone along. It seems like one area that's just continuing to grow and develop is you and Kaysen's connection in the half court, but especially in transition as well. How have you seen that grown here over the last few weeks?
I think a lot of times really good things just happen naturally when everybody has the right intentions, and Queso is definitely that way. When he gets out in transition, or whether it's half court, executing sets, he's always trying to make the right play, and be aggressive within that. And, naturally we've kind of been connecting, I guess. The opportunity's been there in the games, and, he's been putting the ball up there, so I got to go get it.
Dub, in pregame, Mark was talking about you making all defense, and he said what really stood out was that stretch when you were playing a lot of the big minutes. How has that sort of helped you over the course of the season and into the playoffs?
It's kind of like that thing where like he does a lot of like subs during the year. So when you like get subbed in, you're not like taken out of the game, or like it's not new. I feel like that's kind of the same thing. Like I've had so many reps of guarding like so many different kinds of guys and different positions, and like just where I've been, like when we go zone, and just so many different things have been thrown at me defensively. I think it's made me a better defensive player and just player in general. And I feel like too, you kind of got to embrace that, and I feel like it's just a really fun thing to add to my game, and I just take it as a challenge depending on where they put me and see how good I can be in whatever role I'm in.
You guys faced a lot of different zones during the regular season. Of course, Denver threw some at you in the previous series. You guys handled it pretty well tonight. In fact, they looked like they brought their guards out a little bit higher like Denver did tonight. Just talk about how the different things you face are helping you in this series.
Yeah. A zone, for the most part, is going to be around the same. How we choose to attack it obviously changes. But a lot of it is just trying to play through it and not let it make you stagnant too much. But, yeah, I mean, we've seen a ton of different defenses, not even just from the Denver game, but we're going to get stuff thrown at us, and it's just about how well we were able to evolve during the game through those experiences.
Chet, one of the things that Mark mentioned was the mental toughness you guys will need heading into Minnesota. What does that look like as you guys kind of lean into that?
Yeah, obviously, part of it's going to have to come on our end, but part of it's going to be natural too. We understand that there's a really good team on the other side of this with good coaches and good players. They're going to have adjustments. They're going to come out swinging and ready to play, so we got to do the same thing, and we got to bring it. Every team is more comfortable, more confident on their own home floor, so we know what to expect. We got to go out there and be ready for it.
Chet, I'd like you to answer this, and Jalen, if you've got anything you want to throw in, I'd be curious too. But you guys have been successful in the paint, both offensively and defensively. What do you attribute being able to, sort of have the success on both ends there in this series?
I'd say it just comes down to having a team mindset on both sides. On the offensive end, putting them in dilemmas and then trusting the next person to make the right play. So it really opens up the floor and it makes everybody better at the same time. And then on defense, it's the same thing. Basically having each other's back, understanding what the Wolves are trying to accomplish on the offensive end, and then take those things away. And when they do get an advantage, have somebody's back. So a lot of the credit goes to the all defensive players that we have, and then it's kind of on me and Hart on the backside to have their back at the rim if they do speed the guys up.
Chet, you've been one of the bigger proponents just talking about Shai as MVP. You've done it multiple times, different post-game interviews saying this is the MVP. What does it mean to see him actually raise that trophy?
And it means a lot for my wrist. But
Do you have it on right now?
Yeah. It's, I mean, it means a lot. We see how hard he works, and clearly he takes care of us. So, it's great to have somebody like that to play with. He's fun to play with, but he's also, he's somebody that, you just want to be around. You know what I'm saying? So, I couldn't be happier for him, and obviously it's well deserved. We all see what he does out there. So.
Yeah, Dub, after watching Lou get snubbed year after year after year for an all-defensive team, yeah, what does it feel like, or I guess how proud are you to see him finally get his credit, and how does it feel for you to finally get your recognition as well?
It makes me extremely happy for Lou. Playing defense and then like he doesn't shoot as many shots as I get to shoot. And for him to still go out there every night and guard literally the best player on the floor every single night for 82 games. And then however many games we play in the playoffs. Best player on the other team every night for 82 games and then some during the playoffs. And again, still, it's not like he's shooting 20 shots a night, and he's doing that for his whole career. For him to finally have that breakthrough is really cool.
Mark, I want to just get your overall take on the second half, the dominant third quarter you had, but then also the way that your team was able to kind of just keep the scoreboard moving in the fourth quarter and prevent that from becoming a possession game late.
Yeah, I thought we did that in the first half too. I thought on a half where we shot 4 for 20 from 3, to have 58 points and to kind of pace offensively the way we did it, I think it speaks to the blend we were able to find. It felt like we were very confident and, getting to good spots on the floor, understanding, a continued understanding of how to attack this team. And then we did it again in the fourth. They threw different stuff at us. They were pretty aggressive on the ball. I thought our spacing and attacks were very good. We shot the right shots, made the right passes. So we can learn from it. It's a different look, again, that we can improve from. But I thought, by and large, offensively, we did a good job tonight.
Valencia King, Real Talk Sports. Mark, I know the last 24 hours headlining story with Shai being the MVP, but when you see him out there before the game hoisting up that trophy, what does that mean for you?
Special moment, to share with the fans. I mean, the fans that are here tonight, those are iconic pictures in history of the league, and the fans get to enjoy that and acknowledge him. And it's an appropriate time to say that in these two games, as well as the rest of the games, but our fans were outstanding, put the wind at our back in these games, and we're going to continue to need them.
Coach, Shai was good as always, but it sure seemed like Dub had an especially good game. How'd you look at him?
Yeah, I mean, he was really aggressive. He was efficient. I thought he chose the right spots to get to his spots and pull up, and chose the right spots to attack the basket, found good passes. I thought his floor game was very good, and he was very good again defensively. So a great night out of him, obviously.
Mark, with all that's swirled around Shai, for him to come out tonight and have the kind of just, not harried performance, it was just him. What does that say about just where he is at this point? And what do you like most about what he brought tonight?
He came ready to play, and we knew Minnesota off of game 1 would come out and play the way they did. They were putting us in closeouts. They were passing the ball, and they were sharp early in the game. And it's a pretty predictable thing, but it's not until you get out in the game that you're navigating it, and that's where you need guys to lead. And I thought he led tonight just with his approach and his force and his blend. He threw great passes down the stretch. The attacks Nick was talking about. I thought he had a good blend of attacks and early passes, and he kept the scoreboard moving for us down the stretch.
Coach, can you talk about the relationship between Shai and Chris Paul, what Chris meant to him, and what does it mean for somebody like that to show up and support tonight?
Chris was here? Oh, I didn't know. Well, I'm not watching on TV like you guys are, so I didn't see him. I'll let Shai speak to it because he's got a better pulse on that. Obviously, he's lived it. But all I know is Chris Paul was here for a year and couldn't have been more impressive in terms of his day-to-day readiness, his professionalism. And, Shai was young, Lou was young. We had other young guys on that team, and he just walked the walk. And, there's a reason he's played as long as he has. There's a reason he's played at the impact that he has for so many years. When you get to see him day to day and how serious he is about his craft, it all makes a lot more sense. So I have the ultimate respect for Chris.
Mark, when both Kaysen and Lou are out there together and Edwards is on the floor, you've kind of switched up which one of those guys has that primary assignment. How do you decide, when to put Kaysen on him, when to put Lou on him, and just how valuable is it to have two options like that?
Yeah, I don't do the matchups, so the assistants are handling the possession-to-possession matchups, and I don't know what the hell they're doing and why. But those guys, it's great to have two of them out there. And with this particular team, with Randall and Reed, McDaniels, there's a lot of wing size on the team that you have to account for, and Lou does well on those guys, because he can play underneath them a little bit. So we're able to deploy him in different ways, and you can't ignore Edwards in doing so, obviously. So having guys like Kaysen and Caruso that can handle that, even Dub, is a huge luxury. It lets us, keep fresh legs on the best players, and keeps us, a moving target in terms of matchups.
What do you think this team specifically learned from the Denver series? And is there anything you've seen over the last 4 days that is being applied from that?
Well, I think, offensively, that series really forced us to pivot very quickly. I mean, they threw a ton of schemes at us and changed them very quickly. And I think Minnesota's done that a little bit these first two games, and our quickness in pivoting to the next attack and recognizing what they're doing, I think, is better than it was at the beginning of Denver. And then I thought our resolve in that series, it was really what got sharpened. I mean, we had our backs against the wall, and had to respond multiple times, in that series. And now we have a different challenge. We're up 2-0, going into their place. We know they're going to play very aggressively, hard, comfortably at home. And now we've got to have the mental toughness to go and rise to that challenge as we head to Minnesota.
Mark, we've been talking about these sort of signature killer runs, maybe more specifically in the third and fourth quarters all year. It feels like Minnesota is maybe especially susceptible to those. If you even agree with that, why do you think that is? And sort of, can you recognize at a point in the game when a team is loosening its grip, per se?
2 games is a really small sample, so I wouldn't read too much into 2 games, but we just try to stack possessions. I mean, it sounds, I know I pound that away every time you guys ask about stuff, but the runs are a byproduct of that, and I thought tonight we got good threes in the first half. For the most part, we didn't shoot it great, and we completed some of those possessions, and so, we got some stops. We were able to get out and run in transition, and then even on some of the loose plays in the early offense, we were able to get really, really quality threes. The guys stepped in, shot the ball really well, or much better in the second half. And, when the shots are going in like that, that obviously contributes to it as well.
Shai had a rough shooting half. The first half of game one has really been cooking since then. What stands out to you about the groove that he's been in over the last 6 quarters?
Yeah, he's just got an unbelievable ability to not be in a groove and get himself there almost instantaneously. You never feel like the next play is going to be a continuation of, a lack of rhythm or a couple misses. You always feel like he's always, getting himself going for the next possession. So just great mental toughness, great consistency. He's really learned the length of the game, and he's just never out of it, and so he had another really solid night. But I thought his force and his mentality early in the game, when we know we're up 1-0 and the team is going to play better, I thought that was, he really stabilized the game for us early tonight, I thought.
Looked like your small ball kind of picked the pace up in the second and third quarters where you kind of get the pace going for you, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's been good so far in this series. We've mixed it in with Gobert on the court. We've mixed it in with, Reed and Randall on the court. They've downsized a couple times now, especially in the fourth quarters of these games. And so we've just kind of leaned into that, but we're going to need everybody to be ready to go. The series always evolves in unpredictable ways, and so we've got to keep all of our tools sharp, and we got to be able to put different lineups on the floor and have the guys deliver. But they've done a great job through 2 games.
Coach, you had Lou Dort and both J-Dub make the all-defensive teams. That was announced today. But when you talk about the luxury of whenever those guys go out, having guys like Kaysen and Alex Caruso, also guys, one that has probably the potential to be on one and one who's been on all-defensive, just kind of putting those guys in whenever you take those other guys out.
Yeah, I mean, we got great depth and versatility on our team, and on top of that, a bunch of guys that are willing to play for the team and do whatever is necessary. And I thought the guys did a great job tonight. Edwards was, much more, he was loosened up tonight. I thought a lot of that was the way they were playing, and they really took on the challenge with him. And he really had to earn, he had to earn everything he got for the most part. Nothing came easy for him. He played really well, but having guys that are willing to make somebody like that work for their points and work for their production, that's huge, and I thought they did a good job of that tonight, despite Edwards' night.
Mark, I think most people would associate distractions with negative things, but you've had this last week with Shai getting the MVP. There's been some other things out there. What does it say about him and his sort of just mental toughness and ability to focus to have a performance like this when the stakes are this big?
We take great pride in having an environment that's consistent day to day, and it's been the same environment from when we were winning 20 games as it is now. And that's, I think, what we lean on in the ups and downs of the season and different events that happen. But with that said, part of what makes him special is the imprint that he's had on that environment and how much he's contributed to that environment and been a part of building that environment that we're now all benefiting from as a team.
Andrew Schlecht with The Athletic. You guys were able to limit Julius Randle tonight. What'd you like about the way you defended him?
I thought, like I said, Minnesota came out and they were sharp and they were attacking and they were, playing with a high level of pace and urgency and really tested us. And I thought, they got the best of us on some possessions, but for the most part, we were able to kind of maintain our game plan, with the main guys and also with the rest of their guys that are all very effective two-end players. So we did a good job, getting a counterpunch from them and being able to kind of take some counterpunches tonight. That was not an easy game, and they played pretty well in a lot of the stretches. And so we have to be ready for them to go to another level, like I said, as they go back home.
Yeah, Mark, I think through 2.5 quarters, I think Minnesota had only 6 turnovers. Did you like your defense up to that point? And at that point, all of a sudden, you had 5 the rest of the quarter and broke the game. But were you playing the kind of defense you wanted to before that spigot got turned on?
I thought Minnesota played really well, in their attacks early in the game and had us behind a lot of plays. I credit them. They made good adjustments in between the games, and they were much sharper. And we had to kind of catch up to that fastball, and I thought we were able to do that. But, the turnovers are never like the outcome. If we're low turnover, it's really about, what level of discomfort we're able to put on the opponent. And if that's inefficient shots or long possessions or making them work for everything or a turnover, we don't really worry about what the outcome of those possessions are. We're just trying to make sure we're taking care of what we can control.
You guys had, I think, 14 non-paint twos in the first half. I mean, are you going into half, happy with, how the offense is played?
I was aware of that, and I just thought, there was a level of, assertive. I didn't think we were, settling, and I didn't think we were, stuck on those shots, meaning, we have a bad possession and we have to bomb one of those up. I thought we had really good shooters, kind of playing with some force and some aggressiveness. Obviously, we want to have a blend. We want to get to the rim. We want to get open threes. We have great mid-range shooters. Some of that was Caruso had a couple floaters against the zone. Hartenstein trailed in a couple, so those add up. But I thought generally the way we were attacking showed an improved understanding of the opponent, which is really what we were after tonight, and we just have to continue to do that as we navigate the series. Yep, thanks.